This is from a novel I've been working on. It's from the middle, so just a little bit of background. It's 1995. The stock market crash hasn't happened yet. The main character in this is Bob. He's a philosophy professor, and for vague philosophical reasons, he's left his wife and daughter and has moved to Chicago, where he is a professor at the University of Chicago. His wife has remarried, and she's remarried a much more successful man who's a corporate lawyer, and they live in Manhattan with the daughter. And for Christmas the previous year, Genevieve, who's the wife, and Martin, who's the new husband, they gave Bob, for a Christmas present, this ticket to an investment seminar that he doesn't really want to go to. He's not good with money. He knows he's not good with money. But he's also given himself the task of writing a philosophy book about money, and it's not going well. So he thinks, what the hell, let me go to this investment seminar. So here it is. Remember, it's 1995. Winston Liu's investing seminar was at the Westin on Michigan Avenue. Bob would be polite, he told himself, and go for one day. He owed it to Genevieve and Martin, who'd given him a 3-day seminar for Christmas, although what was the seminar but a wealthy guy defending his wealth, teaching as atonement. If nothing else, it might give Bob ideas. His book, The Philosophy of Money, was long overdue. His editor at Rutledge, Judith Dorr, called every day to ask about his progress. Bob, she said, you're burning bridges. I bought you 3 months. I told my boss you've got things going on psychologically, your divorce, your daughter. But at the end of the day, we need a book. We agreed to a book. Pretty soon, my job will be on the line, and these phone calls won't be so nice. I know, Bob said. I'm sorry, Judy. Can I have the weekend? We'll talk Monday. Monday, I need sections 1 and 2, she said. Otherwise, I can't justify stalling any longer. Bob took the L downtown, which is the train. At State in Chicago, he skateboarded the rest of the way, pedaling into a sucker punch of lake air. At the Westin, he found conference room B. On a table outside, copies of Winston's book, Invest to Impress, were for sale. Seminar attendees would save 50%. Seeing the book done and bound, its author looking urbane on the cover, depressed Bob. A trim young woman with a list hugged him at the door. The hug wasn't to cheer him up. She was hugging everyone. He was disturbed by the intimacy. She gave him his printed name tag, dinner in a bag, and a stack of study materials. She told him to sit wherever there was a chair. He could leave his skateboard by the door. At least 20 people of various ages and races were seated around a polished conference table. Bob sat between a 20-year-old who oozed business school and a woman about his own age. The woman was looking through the study materials, already writing questions. In Bob's experience, students like this could take over and ruin a class if you let them. He never did. Winston was beside a whiteboard, pacing, checking his watch. He wore an aloha shirt and khakis. He began by asking everyone their goals. What would you like to know by the end of the seminar that will have made it worth its while? The answers got more technical, less personal as they went around the table. One person spoke of his P&L, profits and losses. Another spoke of the opportunity cost of capital. When they got to Bob, he wasn't joking. He said, I'd like to know how to make more money. I'd like not to have to think about money ever again. Winston spread his arms as if Bob had made his point for him. Did everybody hear that? There was nodding, murmuring. What I heard, Winston leaned across the table to read his name tag, Bob, is that you don't want a relationship with money. You want the perks of a relationship without the relationship. Sounds like a free lunch. Winston asked everyone to think of a skill they had for which they could charge money. Whatever you thought of, he said, I'll bet it's something you think about a lot. I'll bet you're skilled because of the thinking you've done. If you don't want to think about money, he looked at Bob, you don't want money. During dinner, Winston excused himself. He didn't say where he was going, but he was gone. No one saw him in the hotel for that half an hour. Bob unbagged his Italian beef sandwich, his chips, and his water, and listened to the woman next to him, Pam, talk about how Winston's book had changed her life. She had a paper copy, she said, and another on audio cassette. Had Bob's books changed anyone's life? He didn't think so. Pam asked how he knew Winston. I don't. Someone you know must know him. This seminar is referral only. Bob said his ex-wife knew him. Who's your ex-wife? Bob mentioned Genevieve. No shit, Pam said. I've known Martin since '78. We used to go to the same shrink. From the sound of her voice, Bob concluded that they dated for a while in their 30s and that the breakup had been Martin's idea. What do you teach at U of C? Philosophy. Jesus, Pam said, no wonder you need money. What do you do all day? Write about the meaning of life? Actually, I haven't been writing much lately. For the last hour, Winston spoke about technology. He knew his history. Every great invention, he said, was seen at the time as a solution in search of a problem. He said Van Gogh sold only one painting in his lifetime. Money's not made by being smart, he said. The world was full of smart people. It's made by being early. He said betting against technology was betting against progress. And on the internet, Winston had bet big. He used phrases like Moore's law, dry powder, asymmetric upside. He drew an equilateral triangle on his whiteboard and told everyone to open their study materials. I've been in real estate for 2 decades, he said. Property is the lifeblood of America. I saw the recessions in 75, 80, 82, and 90, the crash in 87. I've never advised clients to take cash out of a property to invest in stocks. But interest rates have been in free fall since the 80s, and there's good reason to think they'll go lower. If you can pull equity from your house at 8% and invest in the NASDAQ at 25, you'd be a fool not to. Winston said prices were low. He said none of the conventional models for pricing assets worked because they measured the past. And we were living, thanks to the internet, in a brand new future. Thanks. Woo! Woo!
Nice. Wow. That was great, Steve.
What's the novel going to be called, or what's it called?
I don't know yet.
Oh, that's a good title.
It's untitled.
Wow, that's definitely read it yourself.
That was great.
Yeah,